Today's shipping day. What's up, YouTube? So yeah, today's shipping day. So this video is just going to be how I go through the whole shipping process, all the preliminary stuff I do before I even put the animal in the box, what I do to ensure that the box stays secure, and also things you have to do to make sure you're following the law, because there is also a law when it comes to shipping out reptiles. So obviously, the first thing you need to do is make sure you're getting your boxes from an approved vendor. There's actually a requirement in order for you to ship live reptiles, and one of those requirements is this Lacey Act. And the Lacey Act is also a law that was put into place to make sure that the carriers know exactly what's being transported, and also for the government to know what's being transported as well. So this Lacey Act requires that you enter the type of species you're shipping and the quantity of that species. So for me, it's pretty simple. You just got to enter what you're shipping. So for me, it's either Pagana viticips, which is bearded dragons, or it's Python regis, which is ball pythons. So I only have two options for this, so it's pretty easy for me. And most of these boxes don't fit more than 3 animals in them, so usually top is 3. I do have bigger boxes that I do allow for more animals, obviously for shipping, and then obviously it allows for bigger animals as well. So let's go put some boxes together, and I'll show you the process that I go through to ship my bearded dragons and ball pythons. This box is already put together, so all I have to do is I have to write on the box what I'm shipping, and I also try to do where I write on the box the person it's going to. That way when I close it up, I know what shipping label to put on the box. So let's do that. Alright, so this box is going to be for a ball python, so I cross out reptile, and I put Python regis. ×1, and I also like to in parentheses put ball python for everyone to understand in layman's terms. So I don't know how well you can see that, but that's what I do here. So that's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. There's not much you have to do there. Now I go into getting the animal prepared for shipping, which is pretty simple as well. You just got to make sure you pick the right animal up. And you also got to sex it to make sure that you sold the right animal. Because obviously if somebody bought a female and they're expecting a female and you sell them a male, then that's also not good. You also want to make sure you're, like I said, shipping the right animal out. So that's another thing. So let's go look at this first animal that I got to ship out. So this is the first animal that I have to ship out. This is a ball python, like I said. So this is a Mojave Lemon Blast or a pastel jigsaw, whichever way you want to go. I gotta sex it to make sure it's a female. I've already probed it before, so it's not gonna be a big deal to probe it again. I know it's a female, but I'll go ahead and probe it for y'all. Don't bite me or nothing, little girl. So I prefer probing because sometimes when you pop them, you can get a popping that's a male, or you can get no popping and it's a female. But sometimes you don't know because there's no pop. So this is a female. You can tell because this little bar here doesn't go in that deep. Usually it'll go in about this much or so. If it's a male, it'll go in like this much sometimes. And then if it's a larger male, it might go in even further. So there's different bars that I use for probing. This is the one that I use for adult ball pythons. So obviously you can see it's a bit bigger than the one that I use on this baby right now. Or this juvenile. It's not really a baby anymore because it's almost 200 grams. So I will weigh it now and see how much it weighs. That way I also know how much it weighs before it leaves my property, before it leaves my hands, and then I know if it lost any weight after the fact or anything like that from the person that bought her. So she's pretty nice, actually. So if you're expecting this girl here, congratulations. She is pretty awesome. She's never tried to strike at me, and she is obviously letting me handle her as much as I want. She just let me probe her, so obviously she doesn't care whatever I do to her. So let's go put her in her bag and get her in the box, and I'll show you that process now. So because this girl is in shed, I want to make sure, like I said, that I'm weighing her for 2 reasons: to make sure that she doesn't lose any weight after the person gets her, and also to make sure that since she is shedding, she hasn't eaten in a while, to make sure that once she starts eating there, she's actually gaining weight, because there's a lot of things that could happen where they don't gain weight after eating because they have parasites or something like that. So that's another reason why I want to weigh her right now. So this girl weighs 178 grams. Like I said, she was almost 200 grams. So when you're putting these snakes in the snake bags, you want to make sure that not only do you tie it, but you want to make sure that you put a paper towel in there to, just in case they like poop or anything like that, it'll absorb any moisture. And then you also want to make sure that you put a zip tie around the bag, because I saw another part of the law is to make sure that the animal can't escape. And if you put zip tie it, obviously there's no way they can get out. Now, because it's almost 90 degrees here, and you're not supposed to ship out over 90 degrees, I will be checking the weather where this girl is going, and it's Missouri. Also, this girl is going to the person's home, so that's another thing. If this person just says, yeah, ship her to my house, I will tell them there's no live arrival guarantee, there's no on-time guarantee. The shipping provider only provides that insurance to hub pickups. So if you are also like me and you don't want to be liable for anything because of FedEx, they're going to be sitting in that truck probably all day. Sometimes they just get there in the morning and that's it. But sometimes it goes until the end of the day before they even receive the animal. So obviously in that heat, in that truck, it's not going to be good. So that's why I only offer live arrival guarantee and on-time guarantee via the shipping provider to hub pickups. So it's usually like $5 for me, which is I pay it. I don't want anybody to be responsible for that. And then I pay for shipping as well. So I'll give you this example. I have a flat rate of $65 for shipping. My shipping rates, whenever I pay for the actual shipping label, the tracking label, it goes anywhere from $55 to $100. Sometimes $110, sometimes even more, depending on the size of the box and the weight of the box. So I only charge 65 bucks, but I also do free shipping depending on the order. So I'm always losing out on shipping, but that's part of it. And I also lose out because I'm paying $5 or so for the insurance. And now I obviously don't have to pay that every single time, because this particular girl, she's going straight to the person's house. She says that she trusts her FedEx driver and she knows she's going to be taken care of. So that's all I can do is inform them, and then they still have to make the decision. So now I'm putting the zip tie on. So let's put the zip tie on. Now when I put the zip tie on, I want to make sure that it's tight, but I don't want to make it too tight where the person can't use scissors to open it up. So I usually try to do it right under where I tied too. So all right, that's snug. That ain't going anywhere, and I can still, if I for the person, I can still put my scissors in there and cut that. So now I'm gonna cut the end of the zip tie, just to make sure that it doesn't cut anybody or anything like that. So there we go. Now I know this is the only ball python juvenile that I'm shipping out today, so I know who it's going to, so I'm not confused about it. But if sometimes I will write in the Sharpie or dry erase or something like that on this little tag and say the person's name. But like I said, I know exactly who it's going to because it's the only one that I'm shipping out today. I have an adult that I'm shipping out, but obviously I can tell the size between this bag and an adult bag, so it's no big deal. And then now I'm going to show you the adult ball python process, and then I'll show you the bearded dragon process for shipping, which is obviously almost identical. It's just obviously it's different shipping containers that I'm using. So now putting her in the box, and I'm writing the name of the person on the box, so I know this is the tracking label that I need for this particular package. Now the adult ball pythons go into a bigger bag, obviously. So let's put this girl in here. I don't need to sex her, and I don't need to do any all that. I don't need to do any weighing or anything like that because she is massive. So if she decides to go off feed, then I'll know that she'll at least have enough food in her system to go probably several months without eating. But obviously I don't want her doing that either. But I did tell the person, I did weigh her like last week or the week before that, and that person knows how much she weighed. So I don't need to weigh her again because obviously I only feed every 2 weeks, so I'm not going to weigh her if she hasn't really gained any weight. If anything, she's probably lost some because she pooped or something like that. So put her in this bag, I'll do the same thing, tie it, and then I'll zip tie it. So here's that massive girl I'm shipping out. She is a proven breeder, pastel hut clown, and the person's obviously going to be super happy with her. So let's put her in the bag. Get in there. And she obviously weighs a lot more than the baby. So sometimes I don't even tie it because how much they weigh. So I'm just going to zip tie this one. Because this one's obviously, I don't have her on a flat surface for this video, so I'm not going to tie her. But yeah, zip tie. And that's that. She can't obviously fit through there. And you can even, I try to do this too, but you can even actually tie the bag, because the bag is super long and they don't need all this space. So let's go with that. It's not a snug fit or anything like that. It's just enough to where she can't really untie it. So the person would still have to untie the bag and also cut the zip tie. So that means if the person has to go through 2 steps to get it open, that means she can't get out. So now let's put her in her box and I'll show you the dragging process. Now the dragging process is pretty similar. I just got to put them in a container. I got to sex them first, and I should weigh them first to make sure, same thing, that they don't lose any weight while the person owns them. So sometimes I actually had one not that long ago that apparently had cancer. I didn't know it had cancer, and nobody could tell you that it had cancer. The person had to take it to the vet. It had issues. It was actually eating very good up until the point where the person was concerned about it, that it needed to go to the vet. So you can't really always be certain, and that's why I also, not only do I offer a live arrival guarantee and on-time guarantee if it's hub pickup, but for all my animals I offer a 2-week health guarantee. And obviously there's caveats to that. If a person's not keeping their animal correctly, I'm not going to offer a health guarantee or anything like that. But in the case where it's a health issue that obviously is something that couldn't have been prevented, I'm always going to offer, like, 1 or 2 months or something like that, because obviously if this dragon had cancer 2 months from that the person buying it, there's nothing they could have done to prevent that cancer, and there's nothing that I could have done to prevent that cancer either. So I will offer that person either replacement, or they can use that money to get something else, which I will obviously honor that. So this dragon here is actually going to that particular person. He didn't have to pay for the dragon, he just had to pay for shipping. I can't just keep covering shipping, so that's why the person had to pay for shipping, which obviously he was okay with it, but he's getting the dragon for free plus shipping. So like I mentioned, I always put paper towels in there just in case they poop, and I don't want their poop to obviously cause any issues during transportation, so I will put that in there so it soaks up any poop. Now this dragon, getting it out, I'm gonna weigh it, I'm gonna sex it, make sure it's the right dragon, obviously. Poor guy's in shed, so that's another thing. The shed's making it harder for me to see these. Alright. So, because I can't see because he's in shed, I'm just gonna use this flashlight. Yeah, it's a boy. Now I'm gonna weigh him. And he's in shed, like I said, so he hasn't eaten in a while, so he's lost a few grams, but he's about 6 grams right now. So that's good. Now, some people are probably like, oh, I can't ship while it's in shed. That's not really that big of a deal. They're going to break through. I've had dragons break shed while they're in the container, and I've had them bust out of shed right after they get home. So it's not a big of a deal. Now, I'm going to write the person's name on this container, just so I know, because before I put them in the box, I want to make sure that the box is constructed correctly. Obviously, I do the same thing for ball pythons and everything, but that's the only thing. They got holes already on the box. They got the paper towel. I just want to write their name on there just so I know for sure that I'm sending it to the right person. All right, so BC, you know who you are. Your dragon's on the way. You'll probably already have it before this video even goes out, but just so you know, your dragon's on the way. You probably already know it's on the way. Same thing on the box. Reptile, Pogana, Viticips ×1, and then in parentheses, bearded dragon. There you go. Like I said, I also want to write the person's, at least initials. Most of the time the initials aren't going to be several people with the same initials or anything like that, so I'm usually fine just putting the initials on here, and then I just put it in the package. Now, I like these packages to have snug fit, so I use boxes that are exact to size, because I don't want the dragons or the snakes or anything shifting during transportation, so I want them to be exact size compared to what I'm putting in the box. So now I know this box is ready. It's the same for all bearded dragons. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I appreciate it if you lasted this long. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. And as always,